Lovely to have you with the Creative Business Brain YouTube today. I'm very excited to have you as a guest and thank you for joining us.
No, of course, Helen. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm excited to talk.
Excellent. So I've seen you, you're so well known on Instagram and on a lot of platforms actually. I saw you on LinkedIn earlier as well. Super impressed with you following on there as well. And you're posting some amazing work. I keep seeing really impressive work that you're up to with your business. And actually, one of your posts I saw earlier today was talking about the fact that you grew up on a farm and
Mm,
you used to teach other things and do other things. So I just want to hear a little bit about your story, first of all. Is that okay?
yeah, of course. In terms of how I guess Pink Pony came about, I'll take you right back because it will tell the story of Pink Pony Creative, the agency. So, yeah, when I was young, I loved creativity, just loved anything pink. And I also was a horse rider for many years of my life. I loved ponies. And so I finished university. I got a degree in graphic design and animation. That was 3 years that I was working in the degree. And I think I graduated 2014. And then I worked for about 7 years for other businesses as an employee. It was about three companies that I worked for, which were great. And I learned so much doing those and started to build my network.
Mhm.
And then eventually at my last employer, being an employee at my last job, I was starting to feel really creatively drained and uninspired. I was working for a one brand business and designing in the same colors and the same fonts for 2 years in a row. And I was definitely getting over it. And I feel like a lot of people could relate to that feeling of, is this what it's all supposed to be? Is it just designing in the same colors and fonts,
Yeah.
especially when you're working in house rather than an agency where you might be working on different projects?
Mhm.
And during that time, I decided to make a change and do something about it. So instead of I was looking for other jobs and it wasn't going that great, to be honest. I wasn't getting hired. So I decided to set myself a 100-day design challenge where I would keep myself accountable on Instagram and just post a piece of work every day for 100 days. And this piece of work, the briefs I just made up myself. I was inspired from things around me in my life. My favorite coffee shop down the road, I would create the artwork and a new logo for them.
Mhm.
Just really fun little projects. And I completed the 100-day challenge. And then eventually, around probably day 80, I noticed I was starting to get inquiries on Instagram, people saying, "Hey, I love your work. Could you create me a logo?" And then that's when the light bulb went off. And I was like, oh, this could actually become something instead of just being a challenge on Instagram. So then
Yeah.
I decided to register the company name Pink Pony Creative as
Mhm.
an official business. And then basically from there, just the business was born. That was 4.5 years ago, January 2020, right before the start of COVID,
Yeah.
when, yeah, good times, when Pink Pony was born. Yeah, ever since then, honestly, I just love everything I've built. Like the brand itself, thinking about like me as a young kid, Pink and Ponies was everything that I loved as a kid. And I brought that into my business and it's just allowed me to be authentic, like right from day one. And I have it, I'm looking over this way because I'm looking at Pedro, which is my giant plastic horse in the office that I can literally sit
Yeah.
on. He's
Yeah.
life sized.
Yeah, amazing. I've seen him on your videos actually. I was like, that is so cool. When I was younger, I probably would have loved that in my bedroom.
I know, same. I would have
Yeah.
died thinking that I have that in office in my own business now. But yes, I love it. And I've built a team. There's me and I've got 5 employees. We work with clients all over the world and we very much create work that is bold and daring and pushes the boundaries. And I always thought as a creative at university and even working for others that the only way to make money would be to work for corporate businesses and to design creative work for corporate businesses, which is absolute lies because we now create work for the most insanely fun, cool like businesses, candy brands, like podcasters, awesome entertainment parks. Yeah, so I think, yeah, we've built something that is so daring and bold and bright.
Yeah, amazing. Super impressive. And yeah, I love seeing all your work. It's really exciting when I see it all. It brings back a lot of memories for me because I used to have a design business. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, so I'm like, oh wow, that's so cool. It reminds me of other things that I've done in the past. So yeah, but I think the main thing I think along the journey is just to really notice like big things that you've achieved along the way. Do you think there's
Mm.
like big landmarks or lessons that have really stood out to you?
So many, especially I could actually talk about something that happened before I had Pink Pony.
Mm,
And it was when I was working for my last at my last job as an employee, and I was trying to find a new job because I was like, this is just not really what I want to do for the next few years. So I was going out applying for roles, and at that point I probably would have been maybe verging on senior designer kind of position.
mm,
And I didn't really know exactly where I sat. And I was applying for these roles, and this role came up that was a senior design, graphic design role for a large in-house fashion brand in New Zealand. And this role at the time for me, I would have that was like my dream role. I was like, oh my God, this would be amazing working for a brand like that, where I literally bought clothes from every week, loved them. I just thought it'd be so awesome. I actually got an interview. I think I had 2 interviews there. And then they actually turned around and said, we think you'd be too experienced for the role. And I was like, oh, it's not what I thought they were gonna say. And
mm,
so they said they went with someone else. And I was really sad at the time. I was like, oh, I had this awesome opportunity and it got taken away from me and I
mm.
didn't get the job. I just obviously wasn't the right person. But looking back, and at the time I thought that was my dream role. But now looking back, I'm like, I'm so glad that didn't happen because I wouldn't have had any of this, which is everything beyond my dream role.
Yeah,
So you have those moments where you think, oh, I didn't get a job or I didn't do this and this didn't happen for me, but there's a reason why those things
yeah.
don't happen for
Oh
you.
my goodness, yeah.
Mm,
Along the way, so many things didn't go right for me along my journey. And I used to feel really bad about it a lot and I used to dwell on it. But when I got to a certain stage and I look back and I thought, oh my God, if I hadn't been through all of that, I wouldn't be here now. And I'm like so grateful for what I do now. And it's, yeah, you realize that everything happens for a reason. And it's all valuable lessons that you had to learn to become who you need to be. So yeah,
exactly.
it's so exciting though because we're all here to help each other as well and to share what we've been through and help each other with those things. And it does feel like I do feel like I'm on a real mission now, and that's why I wanted to share stories and their insights and their things they've learned as well to help as many creative people as possible. Because everyone feels lost at some point, everybody does, and it's so important to pick yourself up and go, it's okay. And there's a reason why that happened. That's okay. Let's move on and try again. There's other things you can
Mm.
do. If that one route that you had your heart set on didn't work, it's okay. There's plenty of other opportunities out there. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with social media as well, and we see so many people doing all these incredible things, and you
Mm.
look at that and think, oh, when's my time, or why aren't I doing that? But the reality is there's more people out there in the same position as you, I'm sure of it, that are lost and confused and thinking, comparing themselves to all these other people online. But it's just so important to remember as well that those people would have had similar journeys. You're just seeing where they are in that moment. And it's
Yeah.
you the path of creativity in terms of any role, really, it doesn't matter what you do, is so different. Everyone's path is so different. And it's you just have to start to, if you be patient and understand it's going to lead you somewhere bigger eventually. But you
Yeah.
do have to like take action and put yourself out there and make a plan.
Mm.
Essentially, for me, like it was the 100-day design challenge that allowed me to start my business. So if I just sat in my feelings at the time and been sad about missing out on this awesome job and thought, oh, I'll just stay at my current job that I'm at now, I would have never done all this. So definitely, you've got to make your own path. There's a quote that I love that relates to that, and it's opportunity dances with those on the dance floor.
Yeah,
And I
that's
just
it.
love that.
Yeah.
You got to put
Yeah.
yourself out there.
Yeah, and you have to come with the right energy. when I'm teaching people, so I teach lots of different levels of creative people, and sometimes people come to me and they just don't understand sort of the mindset side as well. And you've got to come with the right energy. You've got to show up you're excited and you want to get going, and you want to help people, you want to do the best things you can for them.
Mm.
Sometimes if you're dwelling on what's not going right in your life, it just doesn't work. You're not sending off the right signals. You wonder why you're not attracting people, but you're only going to attract the people that are on the same vibration as you. And it's really important to realize that, okay, if I want to attract people like that, I've got to be like that. So,
Definitely.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I think I've learned so much about things that were way out of my perception as well when I was a lot younger.
Mm.
Didn't have the right
Mm.
mindset. I look back now and think we all learn these things for a reason.
It can be hard as well,
Mm.
especially in those earlier years or when you're trying to figure yourself out, especially leaving university. I remember that time was hard and tough because I left university. I wasn't like the best in the class. There was definitely people who were I was probably in the middle of everybody. I wasn't like the worst, but I wasn't the best either. And leaving university, no one tells you how hard it is to get that first job.
Mm.
It was about 6 months that I could not find a job, and nobody tells you how hard it is. And it's such a like, it just is so hard on your motivation and your drive personally. And I know so many other people go through that when they leave university. They're like, why aren't I getting a job? And to be honest, it can be no reflection on your work. There's the whole thing, you go and apply for junior roles, and then get an interview and you're excited. And this happened to me quite a few times. I was excited, I didn't get the role, and every time their response was, oh, you just don't have the right experience. And
Mm.
you're like, the right experience, but you're asking for a junior role, someone with no experience. So
Yeah,
it's a real big mind game. You
yeah.
just have to keep going. And like in that moment, which is something I've also learned along the way, is it's all about your network and who you know. And it's not, networking is not going to those events and handing out your business card, really. It's just being a good person and like putting your best foot forward every time in
Mm.
every situation so that you can make good connections with people.
Yeah, yeah, that's so important. And I used to get in my car and I used to drive around the country because it was way before social media. And
Mm.
um, I'm a lot older than I look, hopefully.
You look
Oh,
great. You look
thank you.
fresh.
So yeah, I used to get in the car and drive around the country. Just so like I would go for miles. Like I'm sure I've told the
Mm.
story before on my channel somewhere, but people would be so impressed how far I drove to a network event. They'd be like,
Crazy.
"You're from where?" And I was like, "Yep," and I'm here, and I'm like excited to talk to everyone. And I was actually suffering from really bad anxiety as well. So I used to
Oh,
try and
wow.
pretend that I was not suffering at all. I'd put on a brave
Mm.
face and I'd just go out there. So determined. Like
Hmm.
I was the most determined young designer you'd probably ever meet. Just to go
I
and
love
collect all
that.
of these business cards and try and make connections and try and talk to people. It was so much harder back then because you
Mm.
couldn't just then get on LinkedIn and talk to everyone. There wasn't a LinkedIn, there wasn't a Facebook,
Yes.
there wasn't.
You have to do face to face.
Yeah, it was so hard.
Definitely.
And yeah, I just remember trying to call these people, getting ignored all the time.
Mm.
Just, oh my, sat at my desk. I was renting a room in my friend's house, sat at my desk, just like in tears, thinking, am I ever going to make this work?
Oh
I
no.
just, yeah, oh my goodness.
The
But
struggle.
yeah, but eventually you do meet the right people eventually. You do start
Mm.
to find people that will give you a chance. But yeah, I do
Mm.
all the things I learned, I would do things so differently now. If I did it all again,
Mm.
oh my goodness, I would do it so differently now. But it's so inspiring to be able to help other people do it the way I wish I'd done it. Do you know what I mean? That's so exciting for me to show people, look, you've got it easy. Like this is so easy now to do it this way and to meet people online. You can talk to anyone around the
Mm.
world as long as you've got the skill, like how to communicate in a more professional way, how to show up authentically, how to be able to turn a cold person to a warm person very quickly. Teach all those kind of skills that I wish someone had taught me a long time ago. And it's so valuable to grow any business, really. You've always got that skill. Once you know how to get your clients, it's just, oh my goodness, life is so much easier.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's like you mentioned, like it's we have it easy, which is like we have these platforms that are right here in our pocket that we take everywhere with us. We can literally go to the most random place probably on earth and there could be internet reception. And it's free. And I feel like we often get caught up in this whole idea of, oh, we don't have not getting the engagement I want, or my followers aren't growing. We've got this incredible free platform that allows us to market our businesses to anyone in the world. And like you can send DMs to anyone in the world. If I wanted to, I could DM Beyonce. I don't know if she would reply, but like it's that access and connection. And I think we should flip our mindset and think about how lucky we are to have this, because you're right. I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, none of this was this what it was today. And you had to go out and meet people organically and like in person. And I couldn't go and I wouldn't be able to have clients in America because I wouldn't have traveled over there to network.
No, it'd be totally different, wouldn't it? When I was younger as well, I'd never been on a plane. It's just amazing, really. So yeah, I try and help people realize that, because once you realize how lucky you are, really, with we're all
Mm,
lucky to have what we have now, and technology is moving so fast. Obviously, some people are a bit scared of that as well, but I think it's important just
mm,
to use all those new tools to grow your business and see it in a positive light, because I think anything new that comes out is there to help us in some way. It's not there to replace
mm.
you at all. It's there to really make things a lot faster and easier for everyone. And it is crazy
Oh
how quick
gosh, yeah.
things are moving, isn't it? It's just bonkers.
Mm. I remember hearing a story, and I like obviously with this whole topic, it's AI is the biggest thing that comes into my mind,
Yeah.
and people have such a fear of it. And I remember someone told me a story about when they worked at Adobe at the time when Photoshop first launched, because I
Mm.
think Photoshop launched after Illustrator, which seems a bit backwards. I feel like Photoshop's like the one that everyone knows, even
Yeah.
like non-designers know.
Yeah.
But many years ago, I think it was like in the late 90s when Photoshop launched, there was like a big uproar. People were like, how are we ever going to understand and know what's real and what's not, what photos are real and what's not? But
Yeah.
then when you look back at the progression, Photoshop's only supported everything we've done. It has not replaced real life photography
No.
and like the beauty of photography. It's only enabled us to do better and bigger things. So I wholeheartedly think AI will do the same thing. Oh, it's hard to know where it's going to go because of the rate that it's going in, but honestly, at this point in time, I do think it's just going to be there to support and aid us.
I do.
And
Yeah.
if you've got to grow with it, you've got to like lean. I think it's Stephen Bartlett says lean into bizarre behavior, and he talks about these unique trends that happen.
Mm.
Social media at first was a bizarre behavior, and he said that no one was wanting to lean into it, and then he did and made all this money.
Yeah.
So I think if you can lean into it, you'll be much further along than anyone who's too scared to understand it and learn it.
Yeah. And I think I try and think in that way about everything in my life now.
Mm,
And as I've grown massively over the years in my confidence and everything, just becoming who I want to be, I think if you lean into anything that scares you, I think that's a really brave thing to do. And I think that's what you need to do. I think that's what everyone needs to do in life. If anything really
yes.
scares you, you need to learn about it and understand it. And rather than shy away from it, push yourself out your comfort zone, go out there, do the things that scare you, because often that's a sign that you need to do it. If it scares you,
Mm,
it's a sign you need to actually put yourself out there and do more of it. Uh,
exactly.
yeah.
Mm. It's like, I don't know if you've ever bungee jumped before
No,
or
I,
skydived.
I have skydived. Yeah.
There you go. Like in the moment, I've done both. And in the moment, you're pretty scared and it's terrifying. But then afterwards, you're just like, oh my God, you feel on top of the world. You can't believe you've accomplished this massive thing. You feel like you can do so many more amazing, incredible things. It's the same, like the same thing really when it comes to like business and
Mm.
building your own career. And if you can put yourself out there all in those like really hard moments, that's literally, there's a, I like to say, it's the area of risk where magic lies. So if you can put yourself out there, that's where those key ingredients and those like beauty, the magic lies.
Yeah, that's it. I know, always on the other side of fear, I say it's a lot to people when I'm talking to them and trying to help them to take some big steps outside their comfort zone. Obviously, on the other
Mm,
side of fear is everything you've ever dreamed of. It really is.
yes.
It's so exciting to think like that rather than shy away from it. And the people that do get through that fear and they get uncomfortable and they push themselves and do things that they might find difficult or just scary, they're the people that do amazing in life. They're the people that really like everyone looks up
Mm,
to. And but behind the scenes, they've felt scared, they've felt anxious, they've felt worried about doing them, but they didn't let it stop them. And that's the most important thing is just don't let fear or anything like that stop you because it's not even real. Fear isn't real.
mm,
We create in our mind. It's just really bizarre that people want to go back to what they've always done, even though they're not having
mm,
fun, they're not enjoying it. I think it's crazy when people go back to old jobs or things that they went, oh, I couldn't do this, so I went back to my old job, or I went back to doing
mm.
what I used to do. It's why? Because you weren't happy the first time round. So why go back to
Yes.
it again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's that the whole comfort zone thing and people just sticking
Mm.
with that because it feels safe and warm and fuzzy. Like 3 years ago, I was asked to speak at Adobe Max for the very first time. If you don't know what Adobe Max is, for
Yeah, I
everyone playing
do.
at home,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, I'm sure you do. It's like a big conference in America that Adobe put on. It's like the creativity conference. And I was asked to speak 3 years ago. I just got an email
Amazing.
inviting me to speak, which was absolutely wild. It was honestly one of the best days of my life. And I cried so much. I thought it was fake
Oh,
because I'm from New Zealand. So it's so far, like in a good way. Like I just felt like this was something that would never happen to me.
yeah.
And when they asked me to speak at that time in my life, I had zero public speaking experience. The only public speaking I did was teaching dance classes to my local community to 30 kids. That was the only experience I had. And then they asked me to basically go fly over to America and speak in front of 800 people. I could have easily freaked out and been like, oh my God, I've never had experience in this. I do not know what I'm doing because I did not know. I had no idea how to write a good speech. I had no idea how to create a good presentation, speak well on stage.
Mm.
But I was like, you know what? I have to, I got to do it. And I did it. And this is my third year going back to Adobe Max this
Wow.
year.
Oh,
And I
amazing.
just love public speaking. Yeah. So you've
Congratulations.
got to just take
Yeah.
all those opportunities.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's so amazing. And yeah, to be honest, I've not done a lot of public speaking, but I think doing my YouTube, reigniting my YouTube channel with discussions,
Mm,
the first step towards that, I think. But yeah, I definitely see myself in the future doing more speaking events. Absolutely.
definitely.
Cool.
Public speaking is definitely one of those things that a lot of people are terrified of.
Mm.
And it is scary. Like there was one I did in America this earlier this year, and it was completely different to Adobe Max. But to be honest, I was the most nervous I'd ever been in front of this audience. And I found myself backstage having to do like breathing exercises because I was honestly so nervous. And then I got up there, I fumbled a few times, but it doesn't matter. Like
Mm.
we're all human and it only makes us look more human having those nerves and like having a little fumble here and there.
I think yeah, it's so important to be your authentic self. And I'm sure a lot
Mm,
of people talk about that, but it's, I talk about it throughout everything that I teach, whether it's helping, encouraging someone to do their first video, whether it's connecting with someone in a big company that they're really scared to talk to, whatever it
mm.
is, I encourage them to be their authentic self, obviously doing it in a certain way that we know is really effective, but it's about, yeah, being yourself. Oh my goodness. Like we put way too much pressure on ourselves, don't we? It's just bonkers.
It is wild how much pressure we put on ourselves and how much we, how do I explain this? we think people will care about us. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Oh, I know what you
We often,
yeah.
yeah, you get worried about, oh, what will people think of me?
Mm,
But actually, we're all too concerned about what others will think of us. So
yeah.
just get out there, just do it.
So I was constantly like feeling anxious about everything. I was like a nervous wreck when I was younger. And that was, I think, one of the biggest things. I just, once I started to, I think you mentioned breathing exercises. Oh my goodness, that helped me massively.
Mm,
But just taking that pressure off and going, it's okay to be me. It's okay to be me. Telling myself that it's okay to be me. I'm safe. I can do this. And
totally.
yeah, and all that self-talk stuff helps massively. I think
Mm.
there's a book, what's it called? What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. That book is
Oh,
absolutely amazing. So if anybody's ever
yeah.
nervous about doing anything, you need to read that book. It's really helpful. I recommend that to a lot of
Yeah.
clients, especially the ones that are just starting out and they're really worried about doing their first sales call or anything like that. Yeah, like what you tell yourself, because I think depends what stage you're at really in your life, in your whole personal
Mm.
human journey. But a lot of people aren't even aware that they're having these conversations with themselves. So once you're aware of it and you start to recognize it, you start actually going, oh yeah, no, I don't think like that. Don't tell yourself that.
Mm.
That's not going to
Mm.
make me feel good. And you start recognizing those things and you actually become more in control of it. You can actually program yourself to be your own best cheerleader. It's like having
Yes.
like cheerleader on your shoulder. Go on, you can do it. And
Exactly.
it's amazing how it changes you. It really does. It
Mm.
changed me massively. Like I'm
And
nowhere near
it's like,
the person, yeah, that I used to be.
yeah. And
Mm,
you think about those moments in the little voice in your head,
mm,
and it's like, would you talk to your sister or your brother like that? Or would you talk to your best friend like that? The answer would probably be no. You wouldn't say those things to them.
yeah.
Why would you say it to yourself?
Mm,
Yeah.
absolutely. But even bigger companies as well. I just thought of something. I was talking to a fairly big agency actually, and this guy, I noticed a lot of negative talk in his language. So even though
Oh, wow.
he's a bigger company, he was still saying things, but not recognizing that they were negative things that he was
Mm.
implying or what he believed. So he was really limiting himself to certain things because he was telling himself certain things that weren't even true. So once I questioned him on those things, and he was like, "Oh, actually, yeah, I see what you mean." And like this smile started to come up on his face. He started to realize what I'd noticed, and he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah,
Mm.
I understand what you mean now." Everybody does it in some way, so don't feel ashamed or bad about it.
Mm.
We're all human. But yeah, it's fascinating. I think different levels of business definitely do have different mindsets, but they still have the same issues fundamentally behind
Yeah.
the scenes. So yeah.
Completely. And then like it's all relative and they all grow with your business as you grow. Like I remember being a freelancer, there was yeah, the fear of going on camera or talking to a client on a Zoom call, and that was really scary. And then you get over that, but then there's the fear of when I hired my first employee, but the fear of teaching her right and guiding her in the right way, and then yeah, it continues growing, and it all feels relatively the same, to be honest. It's just all these different little things, and in the time and the moment, you're like experiencing these different moments, and the way you feel about things quite differently. But yeah, we're all there, and we all feel those things. I remember there was an experience that I had at Adobe Max last year with Chris Do, and I don't know if James Barnard as well. He's an incredible designer. And
Mm,
I was sitting with James, and James knew Chris. And obviously, Chris is like the big dog, and we
yeah.
all love him. He's incredible.
Mhm.
And he knew Chris. So Chris came over, and luckily I was introduced, and we were just chatting, and it was really nice. I was like, couldn't believe I was sitting and chatting with Chris. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But I played it really cool. And in the moment, we stood up, and then he goes, oh, I'm glad this came out of Chris's mouth. He said, I'm glad I've met you guys. I've got friends now. And I was like, Chris Do is just saying that he's glad he's got friends. And
Oh.
I was like, everyone would want to be Chris's friend. But in his mind, he was just excited to have a couple of people in you. So yeah, it's all, we all go through these same experiences, no matter the size and who you are. And
Yeah.
if there's someone out there who thinks they're not scared of anything, they've just got a big ego.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think the best agencies and the best companies are the people that leave the ego at the door and just are
Mm,
there to really serve, are there to really cheer on their client and be the sort of sounding board, first of all, to really understanding what's going on, not just
mm,
focused on the design, because I think there's sometimes where I encourage a lot of my clients to go a lot deeper in the conversations that they're having to really understand who they're talking to. Because, yeah, where you don't want to just feel like an order taker. You want to feel like you're
mhm,
really making a difference in that world. Or being a sounding board, you're listening, but you're supporting them, you're encouraging them, your own kind of perspective. But you're being more than what they expected. Like always try and
mm,
be more than what somebody expects of you. Try and really give a much higher level of service and just do everything you can to help people. That's really, really important. I think
mm,
a lot of companies, especially when they get bigger and they're like, they love name dropping. Oh, I've worked with these so and
mm.
so, Nike and all the rest of it. And I'm like, to be honest, none of that matters to me. I just want to help you.
Yes. Mhm,
It's just about the people. And
mhm,
sometimes I've had even people that say to me, oh, it's all about the people. But then they still do the same thing. They still like, oh, we've worked with so and who have you worked with? And it's like, none of that matters to me. It's all about,
mm,
am I helping the human being that's sat in front of me right now? They've
mm,
got a whole life. All of the things that I teach them is going to impact their life. It's going to impact their family. It's going to impact their community. It's going to impact everybody that's surrounding
mm,
the person. So it's so important to go really deep with people, really understand them, and
mm,
really what it means to them, really what's driving them, what's their mission, what's their cause, what are they fighting for, what's important to them, because all of
mm.
that should reflect in everything that they do in their business.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. And I
Mm.
think it's all about the way that you make someone feel. And
Mm.
that plays more of a part than anything else. I completely understand where you're coming from. In our office here, we're on floor level, we've got big windows. People come in sometimes, they'll just walk in, inquire. And I had one guy walk in and he came in and he probably was in here for about 45 minutes. And I probably said 2 minutes worth of talking in that 45 minutes. And he was speaking the rest of the time. He was dropping these big names, these big companies, all these like massive dollar amounts. And I was just sitting and listening. And in my head, I'm like, I don't even know what this guy's intention is.
Mm.
And I don't care. He could have come in and said, I've worked with Justin Bieber. And if he's talking like that, I would have not cared. Yeah, it's like all the way that you make someone feel.
Mm.
And actually, a story that comes to mind is a recent client of ours. We worked with someone in America. I haven't that launched the branding yet, so I won't talk exactly who they are because it's a very exciting project. But when I had this sort of sales call with them, we left and we had one more sales call, I think, before they confirmed. And they said in the second sales call, it was your passion and your excitement for the job that allowed us to feel just as excited. We were like, wow, she is so excited about this. To see someone who's going to design our brand that's just as excited is it means the world to us. And that meant a lot to me because you don't often get those compliments. So I was like, wow, it goes to show how much if you can like really show you care, because if you hopefully you do,
Yeah,
that will come across so genuine. And if you're genuinely excited about something, people will love you for it.
yeah, definitely. And I say that a lot to my clients. I say things like, if you're not excited about talking to people, whether it's in the DMs, whether it's
Mm,
uh, on Zoom or wherever you are, if you're not actually genuinely excited to do a little bit each day to get to know people and find out what's really going on, they're not your ideal client. You should
yes.
you should be excited talking to them, and
Mm,
you should enjoy the process of getting to know people and finding out if you're a good fit or not. All of that is part of the journey, is part of your business. So you should embrace it, not go, oh, do I have to do that? It's like, they're not your ideal client, because you should have
Mm,
some kind of connection with the people you really want to serve the most. There should be something about that audience that really lights you up. There should be something about them. Maybe you've got something in common. Maybe you've got a similar mission in life. Maybe there's just something about them that means a lot to you as well. That when you talk
mm,
to them, it's like, pow, you've got this magnetic attraction because you both are on the same page. You both want the same things. It
mm,
really helps massively when you're trying to attract regular clients. Yeah,
mm.
it's about trying to think a bit
Definitely.
bigger, like maybe a bigger mission in life. Or um, I did talk to Christo as well, actually, about that.
Oh, I love that.
Um,
Love
it's
it.
on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I did talk to him about that, and yeah, it's just I always find that I think I've said to him, I've learned so much about human behavior over the
Mm.
past 4 years, because I probably started this business the same time you started yours.
Oh, cool.
I've learned so much about human behavior and about myself as well. And
Mm.
I think you start to realize that we all go through the same things. We all have we go through very similar emotions about things. We have the same fears, and all, you start
Yes.
to realize that we're a lot more similar than we realize. I
Oh,
know.
hugely.
And obviously, everyone likes to be seen as like their unique self, and everyone is unique because there's no one like you. Like
Mm.
it's just amazing how unique we can be, but there's also the human fundamentals that everyone goes through, and it's just important to recognize that and support each other through those things so that we can feel like we're connected in some way. I think it's really important.
Mm. And even in business and your journey of becoming a freelance or building something that you genuinely care about is one of those things that you'll come across these situations that will make you feel like, oh, am I the only one that feels this way? But I guarantee there will be 100% guarantee there's someone else out there who's also feeling the same or who has felt the same. No matter the situation, there's someone's gone through it as well. A lot of the time on live sessions and things, I'll see people comment about things that we say, and they'll say, "Oh my god, that just makes me at ease because I can't believe that other people feel this way." And yeah, most things we do, other people would have gone through and dealt and had to deal with. So yeah, just remember that if you're going through something really difficult and hard, just say to yourself, someone else is also going through this. It's not just me.
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm,
And yeah, I think it's so much easier now to talk about stuff like that. I think when I was younger, people didn't talk about that. If you were going through hard times, people didn't talk about it. You just had to get on with it. It's like, okay, I've just got to suffer. And that's how it felt for a while. But yeah, I think now, like, everyone is open about seeing a therapist or having
mm.
a coach or having a mentor. That's just like normal now, which is really great to see. And I think, yeah, I think it's just healthy to talk about things. It's just really healthy.
Oh, it
Yeah.
definitely is. There's something that I do in my business. If things don't go quite as well for whatever reason, a lot of the time, if it was a client that didn't go as planned, it hasn't happened a lot. There's been a small handful that will go through and it doesn't work out like we wanted it to.
Mm,
In those moments, if you get a really harsh email that stabs you in the heart a little bit and you're like,
mm,
oh my God. And some of them have instantly made me cry just because I feel so emotionally connected to what I do and I love it. And I genuinely just want to make good things for people. So
mm,
when those emails come in, they really hit home and they feel really harsh. But I just say to myself, look, cry it out for an hour and give it a day, because in a day you're going to feel so much different about this situation. You'll be a lot more clear headed. You would have cleared your mind, you're at ease, and you'll be able to even respond in an unemotional way, which helps a lot, especially when clients don't like what you do.
mm,
Because I think in design, which is something I've learned hiring for designers, is that you don't really go into this industry because you just have to design. all of us go into it because we genuinely love to design and want to design. So we all feel very emotionally connected to our work.
Yeah.
So when people don't like it, it's a real stab in the chest. And as you get older, you realize it's just something that can happen and it's not as bad as you think it might be. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough when you see those comments. It sure is.
Yeah, I do remember feeling very emotional about my work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I used to, at one stage, I was teaching design as well at a college. And
Mm.
and I had to put my arm around students sometimes and be like, it's okay. Okay, no, you're learning, you're doing great. There's so much positive stuff about this, but we just need to like make sure you're focused on this or you understand
Mm.
this. And I think sometimes it is just having that support means so much to people. It really does. But yeah, when people that aren't from the creative world give you feedback, often it isn't in a nice way. I've
Mm.
experienced that. So yeah, it's about, but sometimes those things just make you much tougher and in a way that helps you be a much better person. So yeah, it makes you stronger, helps you to realize that not everyone thinks or sees things in the same way, and that's okay. And it doesn't matter. It
Mm.
doesn't mean you're a bad designer. It means that somebody else has got just, it's very subjective. Somebody else has got a different view of it. It doesn't matter that they don't see what in it, but obviously you have to come to some compromise when they're your client and make sure they are happy with the result. I know
Mm.
that was something that really I used to pull my hair out about because you ended up creating something you didn't really want to create
Yes.
sometimes. It's
Yeah,
like,
and you're like, this doesn't even look like my work, but
yeah.
hey, it's okay.
Yeah. Um,
As you get older, you will learn this and understand it. People will start to understand it more because I remember that feeling when I went into my first job and there was a senior designer above me and she told me that it wasn't looking good or didn't look right. And that really it hurt at the time. And I feel like everyone should like my work because if everyone likes it, it means I'm a good designer. But then you think about someone like Taylor Swift. Not everyone in the world likes her music. There will be a lot of people that outwardly hate her music. I
yeah.
think she's fantastic.
I
She's probably one of the most incredible businesswomen in the world.
mm,
And like she's had so much success, but she still has so many hundreds of thousands of millions of people who do not like what she does.
yeah.
You can, yeah, it doesn't matter that there will be people out there that don't like what you do. You can still have massive amounts of success. You cannot please everybody.
Yeah, that's such an important lesson and great comparison
Mm.
because yeah, that's so true. And I love Taylor Swift, by the way. So
Yeah. She is great. But I love watching all those shows. I feel like as well, public speaking has really allowed me to completely realize that you cannot please everybody because essentially, for example, with Adobe Max, you stand up there in front of a room of 800 people, and these people only see a very small description of what they're going to see in your session. So they come along, and there's no like target audience range, I guess. It's just everyone and everyone. There could be someone in the audience that is starting their journey and finds you so incredibly inspiring and loves everything you say, versus someone who is in their 60s. Maybe they've owned a massive agency, sold it for millions of dollars, and they're listening to you, me, who's 30, 31, talking about this stuff. Of course, they're not going to relate to me. Of course, they're going to find what I'm talking about a bit maybe mundane or boring. You just cannot please everybody. And that's only a small section of 800 people. If you're putting yourself out there on social media with your work, that's you're putting yourself out there to everyone in the world. Of course, there is going to be people that don't like what you do.
yeah, and it doesn't matter. And it's actually a good thing because the sooner you
Mm.
work out who are your people and who are not your people, you can actually, especially through your content, you can actually talk about those things in your content and make sure only the right people do turn up on your calls. So it's actually you can eliminate a lot of the hassle before they get to that stage. And that
Mm.
helps. It helps in lots of ways. Yeah, it's important that people get to know you, the real you online. It's so much easier now that people get to know the real you, get to know who you want to focus on the most. who you're helping the most,
Mm.
and making sure that what you're putting out does resonate with them. And yeah, you'll find that the right people get on calls with you, the right people show interest. So many people that I speak to often say to me, I do get calls with people, but they're not the right people. And it's, oh, that's such an easy thing to fix. So
Definitely.
it's really about understanding who you want to talk to, so
Mm.
you can start tailoring everything around that.
When you put yourself out there on social media,
Mm,
especially as you start to grow and people maybe start to engage with you more, you're going to get people that leave negative comments. It's just inevitable. But
yeah.
instead of being like, oh, that's a nasty negative comment, just think it's good for the engagement.
Yeah,
Good for the
absolutely.
engagement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think, yeah, I think if you've never had a negative comment, it's just like, okay, I need to work on putting more content out. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Agreed.
like, yeah,
Definitely.
it doesn't matter. And yeah, like you said, don't take it to heart. Be who you need to be. Who loves you will shine and reach out and want to talk to you, and who doesn't will just end up just fading away. It's important just to not worry about those things. And it's not about who's right and wrong. It's about you being you
Mm,
and doing what you feel you need to do to be the best version of you and serve the people you want to serve, and just, yeah, have the best life you can with what you want to do. And you can design
mm.
your business the way you want it to be. I've met so many designers, different types of designers, which is super fascinating. I've even met people that design yachts and things like that. It's like,
Oh,
wow.
wow. That's cool.
Yeah, I've met all kinds of
Yeah.
designers, and it's so fascinating. But they all have the same issues, and yeah, it's about just making really condensing things down, getting a lot of clarity in your business. Because you can
Mm,
have any business you want, you can design it the way you want it to be, which is super exciting, really.
definitely. And it's funny when looking back on my journey on Instagram,
Mm,
and the page was called Pink Pony Creative because I loved pink and ponies. And that was like, I was like, oh, this will be fun, not thinking it was going to be a business. And
mm,
then when I made the decision to actually register the name, it did flow through my mind. I thought, is this a name that I could name my business? It seems quite playful, like beyond kind of what's expected. I
mm.
felt like maybe it wasn't professional enough. Would people trust a business, an agency, or design agency called Pink Pony? And I definitely had a few people giggle under their breath, or they would say, Pink Pony, are you calling your business Pink Pony? There was quite a bit of judgment there in the beginning stages. But now I'm like, I'm so glad I called my business Pink Pony because it's allowed me to be different and unique and not blend in with others. You can make it wholeheartedly whatever you want to make it. You just have to be, you have to be confident in it and in your gut think this is the right move.
Yeah.
But yeah, people will laugh at you, I'm sure, if that's slightly unusual, but weird is memorable, so go with that.
Yeah, that's it. But you've always got to remember everybody laughs at something new or something different,
Mm,
or like they question things that are out of what they perceive to be the norm.
yes.
And I always have to remind people it wasn't that long ago that people thought the world was flat and you'd fall off the end if you went too fast. You know, it's like
Exactly.
crazy the things that people judge things or the way they perceive things. Don't take that on board. We know ourselves what we're meant to do, or if we listen to
Mm,
ourselves enough, we can create something that's really right for ourselves. And that's the most important thing. I think where people tend to go wrong, I meet two types of people usually. One type of person that just wants to create a business and pick something that's very, probably not even the people they enjoy working with, but they just see
mm,
capital there. They see, okay, they've got money,
mhm.
let's do that. And I'm like, that's
Yes.
okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make money. I think it's really exciting, it's positive. You can do a lot of good with money. But the thing is, you've got to be aligned with that. If that audience is not your people, you're still going to find it very hard. And even when you do talk to those people, you do work with them, you're probably not going to enjoy the experience.
Oh, definitely. As I said, Stephen Bartlett, lean into bizarre behavior. That's what he said.
Yeah,
So
it is.
go for it.
I love
Lean
it.
into it.
Yeah, I do. I follow him actually. I do follow. him on
Oh,
LinkedIn.
he's great. I love his book. There's some great quotes in his book, I have to say.
Oh,
Some just
cool.
standout one-liners, yes.
Yeah. And I think I have probably about maybe nearly 300 books in my Audible.
Oh my God, that is so many. Good
Yeah.
on you. I love that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I need to get into that.
But I'm like, I still feel like I'm left behind because I hear people saying, I read a book a week. I'm like, can you
Oh,
read a book a week?
yeah, I
Right.
read one book about every 3 years, so don't worry about it.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking time out and talking to us today. It's been an amazing conversation. I've really enjoyed it. Is there anything you want to mention?
If people can find me on Kristy the Pink Pony on Instagram, and then pretty much everywhere else, it's just Pink Pony Creative, which is my agency. But yeah, if you've got any questions, I'm always in the DMs. I'll do my best to try and answer. I can be a bit slow sometimes, but yeah, actually a quote that will go along nicely with everything we've spoken about that
Hmm.
I always love to say right at the end of podcasts is you're far too smart to be the only thing standing in your own way. So just remember that.
Oh,
And
that's
thank you for
brilliant.
having me on the podcast.
Oh, you're so welcome.